Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CSW Backyard Wrestling. I'm your commentator, Scratchy Williams in here, and today, guys, we are gonna be going over the top 5 fights in CSW history. Not just fights, I'm talking about brawls. They could have been backstage, near the arena, or fights during interviews. Let's get on with that, shall we? Each wrestler had their own rival and hatred. However, there was literally one rivalry that actually stood out to be top 5, which was none other than the classic Abram Storm versus Margaret Page rivalry. This rivalry happened back in 2021, where Margaret Page got upset after losing the match that she attacked Abram Storm back when he was known as Abram Hearst Undertaker, after winning the match and winning the CSW World title to become the inaugural CSW World Champion, which would lead up to the match the next week for the CSW World title at CSW Intensity, where Margaret Page literally breaks into Abram Storm's locker room, demanding a match for the CSW World title again, which would eventually lead up to a brawl, and which caused Abram Storm to accept Margaret Page's challenge at CSW Intensity. After all that, we move on to our next rivalry, something that took place back in 2022, but it all started back in 2021, the very first match that these two have had. And we also know that back in 2022, they had to settle to see who's going to be who 1-1, which is why it is the rivalry of the Miracle and Spider-Man Jr. Spider-Man Jr. was known for being a little too cocky during his matches. Not only that, this was back then, before he became CSW World Champion. During a backstage interview before they got into their match, Spider-Man Jr. was known for being a little too cringy, and the Miracle could not take him seriously, that she actually threw a bottle cap at him. Spider-Man Jr. threw it back, and then the Miracle threw it back at him, which caused Spider-Man Jr. to get up from out of his seat and start trying to assault the Miracle before getting pushed away. Then, after the interview was done, the two then started roasting each other before the bell even rang. The Miracle said something to trigger Spider-Man Jr., and that's when Spider-Man Jr. Got so triggered that he ran up to the Miracle and started attacking her, and the bell rang. This next one, you should say it's cousin rivalry. As we take a look back, we see two cousins who were looking to settle the score. Of course, we are talking about the rivalry of Abram Storm and the Miracle as top number 3. You may have heard about sibling rivalries, but a cousin rivalry? You may be thinking to yourself, isn't Abram Storm and the Miracle siblings? That is where you are wrong. They are not actually siblings. They are cousins that just so happen to look alike. And these two definitely do not get along when they are in the same ring. It all started back in 2021, where these two would face off for the first time. The match ended with Abram Storm pinning the Miracle, but something didn't seem right. Abram Storm thought he had picked up the victory, and as you can tell, the Miracle was really mad and attacked Abram Storm right after. he picked up his so-called victory. 2 years later, Storm would hit a devastating spear on the Miracle on the first episode of Friday Night Fight Night, finally actually picking up an actual win over her, and then giving her a taste of her own medicine, hitting her with the Master Lock, making sure that the Miracle stays in her place, and then hitting a devastating chokeslam now known as the Shocking Ending, making sure that she was down for good. Not only was the Miracle and Abram Storm's rivalry in the top 3, but it had so much potential until the Miracle decided that she wanted to leave CSW again. And that is leaving us with number 2 on our list for the best brawls and fight. This next one, these two have had their differences over the past 3 years, which just so happens to be Stevie Cena and Spider-Man Jr. Their first encounter was back in 2021, where Stevie Cena hits Spider-Man Jr. with a brutal pedigree, ending the match quickly. And Spider-Man Jr. hasn't really been the same since. 2 years later, on episode 5 of Friday Night Fight Night, it was supposed to be Abram Storm and Spider-Man Jr. going face to face before facing off at CSW Charlotte Mania before it got delayed. And out of nowhere, Stevie Cena literally attacked Spider-Man Jr. and Abram Storm came in, beating Spider-Man Jr. down with Stevie Cena, which would lead up to a tag team match on episode 6. And now for the grand finale. We already know it is rivalry of the year of 2023. It's Spider-Man Jr. and Abram Storm, placed at number 1. Their rivalry started back in 2022, where Spider-Man Jr. actually made Abram Storm angry, and you'll see how Spider-Man Jr. made Abram Storm angry by this. Yeah. Alright, come on then. Come on! Yeah, but that's not the only time where Spider-Man Jr. actually slapped Abram Storm across the face.
Push me.
Spider-Man Jr. literally slapping him in the face 2 times. Not only that, Abram Storm was so mad, he even pummeled him to where he was on his knees, and then literally just putting him in a master lock. Spider-Man Jr. tried to fight back, but Storm was just too strong for him. We go back to this clip of where him and Spider-Man Jr. were supposed to face off, but he ended up jumping him with Stevie Cena as well. Spider-Man Jr. tried to fight the 2 off, but Spider-Man Jr. has ran into a choke slam. It was also at this time that they even wrestled in a different house, and Storm literally had the chance to literally hit a beautiful ankle lock on Spider-Man Jr. That is the first time ever that he has actually used something useful against Spider-Man Jr. And before the storytelling feud even happened, they even did it one time back in 2021, when it was both the Miracle and Spider-Man Jr. in Storm's locker room at the same time, and the Storm actually hit the Master Lock for the first time. That'll be all, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed this little history thing behind the rivalries and the brawls that has been happening. I do greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget that July 20th, we are going to be doing a huge tribute event for Abram Storm's uncle. I do greatly appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys on the next one.